Hey, good kind people, what is going on? You are checking out a all-new The RCWR Show. Lee Sanders here. Thank you for tuning in for Wednesday night, August 11th, 2021. How y'all doing? So if you joined me a couple of hours ago, because we actually had bled into a new AEW Dynamite, I was doing the NWA Power Joint, and you guys know I was having some tech issues. Not as far as the software I normally like to use. I was having some tech issues as far as my ring light here. And I was able, for those of you that might be a little bit curious, I was actually able to find a adapter. And I think we did the trick. I was actually able to find a little bit of an extender and pretty much plug it into the wall here. And I'm kind of noticing right now, I don't know if you guys can kind of tell, I'm playing around with the light now. This is acting a little funky though. It's acting a little funky. So let's see where that sweet spot is with the light. I don't think it's going to get any brighter than that. So give me a second here. Yeah, see, that's how it works. You just play around with it like that. Different lighting. You know, you gotta have your nice lights. Between you and me, I think that you get what you pay for when it comes to stuff like that. Wifey had got that for a really good deal. She got it at, I think it was Ross. I think she said Ross. She paid like about $15 for it. I can show it to you guys again if you didn't check out the show from just a couple of hours ago. So pay no attention to this stand that I'm holding right here for you guys that can see me here. Pay no attention to where my hand's moving. Pay no attention to that. Pay attention to the actual ring light itself. And I mean, yeah, so I mean, got this bad boy for like about $15. Pretty damn good deal. I would say pretty damn good deal. However, I'm noticing from out of the box, it's not quite operating the same as it once did. And I think it's because this may have been cheaply made, honestly. I think it was cheaply made, so as a result of that, you're not going to be able to get but so much out of it. So I'm curious to see how long this is going to last. I don't know. Maybe it's going to be a case where it lasts. I think, honestly, look, for $15, if it lasts 6 months, then I say that's a pretty damn good deal. So I'll definitely review it for you guys 6 months from now. But I mean, so far, it's okay. It was just kind of weird what was going on when it was connected to the monitor earlier, man. Just kind of weird. So we saw AEW Dynamite go off. Was a decent episode. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that. We'll definitely pick you on back. Talk about just key points from NXT. Because, I mean, at this point, everybody has pretty much seen NXT. Everybody pretty much knows what's going on. So I only want to just glance over NXT, give you guys some key points from what all had went down. Are you guys excited for AEW Rampage? That's going to be debuting series premiere this Friday. Oh man, I got some big wrestling news I want to share with you guys too. We're going to bring that up a little bit later on after we get done talking about Dynamite. So probably in about the next 25 minutes is we should be pretty much done with Dynamite by then, and I'll get into the announcement. I think you guys will be very ecstatic at the news. I kind of teased it a little bit on social media earlier tonight. Of course, we'll also talk about the Darby Allin allegations that has oof that's all I gotta say. And if you're AEW right now, you're part of that PR division, public relations division, you're just shaking your head and you're just going, goddamn. First, the Max Caster rap, we got an update about that whole situation. Once again, following up from what we had put out there on Monday night, we got a lot of motherfuckers that's just throwing darts at the wall, trying to take a guess at what possibly has happened with the man, rather than try to go right to the source is in the man himself, or go to Tony Khan since he's so open with the media. We got motherfuckers that's just basically making news out of nothing. Man, did they all essentially pretty much get their asses handed to them, so to speak, when it's all said and done. But man, you're looking at the Max Caster rap. Then you got the Domino shit that went down. Ooh, that was pretty rough. You got Domino saying, hey, we don't want no more ads during that show. Yeah, that little 2-hour block when that particular program is on, we don't want nothing to do in that time slot. Pull all our freaking ads, please. Right? Now you got the Darby Allin shit. I tell you, no respect. No respect. Little Rodney Dangerfield for you guys. Dynamite, pretty decent. Hey, before we get into that, let's go over AEW Dark. We did talk about Dark Elevation Monday. I told you guys the card for that one, but now peeping out the card here for Tuesday's AEW Dark, and man, was it stacked. I mean, seriously, this was a stacked card. Did you guys even check out this episode? If you didn't, good Lord, listen to this card. This is just for Tuesday's AEW Dark. Thunder Rosa defeated Zeta Zhang. Red Velvet took on Skylar Moore. 2.0's Jeff Parker and Matt Lee defeated Adrian Alanis and Lim Gray. Bear Country defeated Chaos Project. Darby Allin defeated Invictus Cash. QT Marshall defeated Allen, 5 Angels. Hicuelo defeated Thad Brown. Nyla Rose defeated Valentina Rosie. Danielle Garcia defeated Fuego del Sol. Penelope Ford defeated Sahara 7. The Pinnacles, Sean Spears and Wardlow defeated Riper Zabisco and Seth Gargis. The Hybrid 2 defeated Jay Freddy and Marcus Cross. Lucha Brothers took on and defeated the team of Cesar Bonini and JD Drake. Tay Conti, I miss seeing Tay Conti. Used to be almost at a regular weekly basis on Dynamite. We used to see her and everything, but not so much these days. Now you pretty much got to watch the dark shows for her. She was in action. She faced Robin Renegade. Private Party defeated Chuck Taylor and Wheeler Yuta. Dark Unos, Evil Uno, Stu Grayson and Colt Cabana defeated the team of Davis Ramos, Jake Manning, and Joey Sweets. And finally, Dark Order's Alex Reynolds, 10, and John Silver defeated TIM, Arjun Singh, and Dean Alexander. That was just for Tuesday's Dark. Is that a loaded up card or what? Yeah, very freaking loaded. Some of those matches I actually do want to go out of my way and check out for sure. Like how Dynamite had kicked off tonight. You know, there's just so much excitement that's in the air. And to follow up on just some of the thoughts I've been having the past couple of weeks, but then also some of you, because I see some of the comments that you guys send my way to social media. I'll definitely give a shout out to one of our newest followers, and Bobby. Bobby is very excited. He cannot wait for the NWA Empower event happening on August 28th. And just to follow up on that, I want to expand on that because it ties into AEW and everything. This is a pretty exciting time to be a wrestling fan right now because you've got all this excitement that's in the air and a little bit of something for everybody. There is just so much more variety that is so easily accessible here in 2021 and beyond compared to being a wrestling fan in the early 90s, 80s. Very, very limited what you were able to get. Very limited. I mean, so much variety. I mean, if you're into the women's wrestling, okay, well, we got a couple of promotions for you that can cover that. If you are into some, whatever the style is, okay, we got you covered on that. There's just so much variety that's there that it's really a good time to be a fan right now. And with all the buzz and excitement that's coming about with All Out, Rampage, just and just the way that it's just having this domino effect overall. If you can't get excited over some of this stuff that's going on right now in pro wrestling, I don't know, man. Maybe you need to find a new hobby, is the best advice that I can give you, right? But a lot of excitement going into this Dynamite because you know that this was essentially the episode that is setting the table, setting the tone here for Rampage coming up on Friday. And I did enjoy how everything had kicked off with, I believe it was the Young Bucks that were in action. I did take my notes as always. Dante Martin and the Seidel brothers. They had teamed up to take on the team of Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. I thought this was a great, fast-paced type of match. And I tell you what, I'll give credit where credit is due. I know that as of late, I've been a little bit hard on Kenny Omega, but he's been winning me over. He's been winning me over, I would say, in the past 2 months. He's been winning me over. You know, it seems that the longer I'm watching Kenny Omega and the Bucks as a team, and they're continuing to do their thing in tag team action, the better chemistry it seems these guys are having. I don't know if it's coming off that way to you all, or if no, it's just business as usual. But for me personally, I really have been enjoying the Kenny Omega Young Bucks tag teaming as of late. Really have. And I tell you what, Dante Martin really showed me something tonight. That young man, very promising. I love the fact that the way this match was laid out, he got, to quote one of my favorite James Brown songs, give the drums some. You know, he kind of got a little bit of love in this matchup. He got his proper time to shine in the spotlight and everything. And I tell you what, if you never paid attention to Dante Martin before, after this performance tonight, you going, okay, I want to know what's going on with this young man. And look, if I can just say something to the good kind of people over there at AEW, seriously, and I know I'm not the only one that felt the way I felt about Dante Martin's performance tonight in this tag match. AEW, you got to build off of that. You got to. Part of the problem I would have in the past, and to AEW's credit, they've kind of tried to clean it up a little bit, but they can still do a better job, is you'll see a situation where a wrestler will have a phenomenal performance on Dynamite. And if there was ever an opportunity to, okay, look at what they did on Dynamite, now let's combine that with what people are saying about that talent and their performance all throughout social media. You see that great buzz that's come about for them. All right, let's combine all of those things. And now let's go in and let's build off of that. Obviously, there's some buzz that's right here. We got to continue to capitalize on it. But what ends up happening? Well, after you see that said person on Dynamite, typically, that's it. You don't see them for a couple of weeks to several weeks. You're lucky if you catch them at all on regular rotation on Dynamite. So, and that could be very, very infuriating. You feel me? So I'm looking at what they did with Dante Martin, how they pretty much had everything laid out there. And you got to build off of that. It was great seeing the people comment about him on social media. Not for nothing. I've seen him off and on. Looked pretty promising. But I tell you what, an opportunity like this where, okay, you're sharing the same spotlight with the VPs here, go out there and freaking impress. I felt he did just that. So hopefully the EPs there, they're smart to the point and savvy to the point. They combine all the social media buzz and everything, and they build off of this. Give him some more key joints going forward on your dark shows, but definitely show him a lot more love as far as rotation on Dynamite goes. And I mean, look, if you can't show him that love on Dynamite, you got a whole new show called Rampage. So there's basically no excuse. I have a lot more to say about Rampage too later on as far as my expectations go and everything. But yeah, he showed up. He was able to get in his shit. Good ass opener. Good ass opener. Meanwhile, as all of that had went down, Tony Schiavone, he tried to get in a word with the winners in Kenny Omega and the Bucks when all of a sudden Christian Cage came out. Christian Cage, along with Jurassic Express. Jurassic Express had came out too, because Omega and them were wondering, Christian Cage, you ain't got nobody, and there's a boatload of us. Where the hell is your army? Yeah, that's stupid. Well, Jurassic Express actually had his back. So why was Christian Cage and Jungle Express out there? Well, it was quite simple. They had revealed that they spoke to Tony Khan respectfully. And check this out. To kick off AEW Rampage this Friday, it's going to be Kenny Omega defending the Impact World Championship against Christian Cage. That is going to open up AEW Rampage. Now, you were to ask me straight up, okay, Lee, what do you think about that? On the one hand, I can't help but be very excited. But then on the other hand, I can't help but go, damn, we couldn't put an Impact Wrestling guy, an official Impact Wrestling guy in that position that could face Kenny Omega for the Impact Championship. We couldn't officially go there because Christian is an AEW guy. Yeah, he's got the history there in Impact and all, but so, on the one hand, I don't blame you guys that saw this go down tonight, a little bit excited, but then it was kind of one of those, well, wait a minute, let me pump the brakes. Let me just kind of think about that a little bit more. Well, wait a minute, that's kind of, trust me, I got you. I feel exactly where you're coming from. But wait, it gets even more cooler. So, on next week's AEW, Jurassic Express, they're going to be seeing action. Yeah, they are going to be seeing action. They will be taking on the Young Bucks, and it's going to be for those tag titles. So, yeah, pretty damn good. Actually, you know what? Let me stop and think. I don't think it's going to be for the titles. I think it's just going to be just a regular tag match. Although I could be wrong, but I know for a fact Young Bucks, Jurassic Express, they're going to be facing each other on Dynamite next week. So, yeah, should be pretty damn good. Good stuff. And again, it's going to be for the Impact Championship. Kenny Omega, Christian for the Impact Championship on Friday's Rampage. Now, some of you guys are probably wondering, well, okay, that's Rampage. Well, what's going on as far as All Out? What's going on with that event? Because we know that event is coming up in September and everything. Kenny Omega will be defending the AEW World Championship against Christian in September. So, yeah, Christian is essentially double dipping. How do you guys feel about that? Or seriously, how do you guys feel about that? Especially from just the Impact side of things, because I know there's a lot of you guys that check out the Impact product because either you're a fan of AEW, you're a fan of Kenny Omega, or, for whatever the respective reason, you just like your variety in wrestling. I know there's a decent amount of you guys that check out Impact. So I think that's a really good question to ask you guys. So definitely sound off because I'm curious. Are you down? Are you cool? Or you think things should have gone in a different direction? One thing that I will give a lot of props for, that I will give a lot of credit for, is the fact that it's nice to see Impact Wrestling get shown more love, more name drops, and now, well, this title is going to be defended on Dynamite, and now you've even got in storyline, because he showed up tonight, Scott D'Amore, the Impact VP and all that. He showed up on tonight's Dynamite. He showed up because the Good Brothers were defending the Impact tag titles. We'll talk about that a little bit later. So, to kind of follow up on some of the stuff that we have been very adamant about the past several months, specifically in regards to this AEW Impact Wrestling relationship. Remember the analogy that I used the analogy, just to kind of clean it up and go over just the bullet point versions of it, was essentially Impact Wrestling is that guy that, man, he just never seems to be able to date that one chick that has the great looking face, the bodacious body, the great personality. They always say nice guys finish last. He's that one guy that somehow seems to always finish last, and he has the hots for this girl, is willing to do any and everything for this girl, and he does. Boy, does he bend over backwards for this girl. And then when it's time for him to get that reciprocation, poof, flat as a freaking panini. All right? Flat as a freaking panini. No mas. That's AEW for you. AEW is that high maintenance girl, right? Give me some more. Give me some more. Give me some more, right? That's literally how it is. But to see within recent weeks, now we're kind of getting a little bit more, I wish it could be magnified even more. I wish it could be even better. But you know what? What we got so far, the slow chipping away, I'll take it for what it's worth. See, I can kind of look at the glass almost half full for you guys. I'm not always a Debbie Downer. I'm not always so critical. Yeah, I think you guys would admit that. And you have admitted that too. Miro promo talking about how he's going to kill the hell out of Fuego del Sol as they're going to be doing their thing on Rampage this Friday. Second matchup of Dynamite tonight, Daniel Garcia with 2.0 Ever Rise, if you guys recall, took on Darby Allin. This was a one-on-one matchup. Darby Allin picking up the dub. Pretty much a nice little rinse and repeat here of what went down with 2.0 from last week and their interactions with the Icon Sting, all of that stuff. It's weird. I'm not really sure how to feel about this matchup because on the one hand, I kind of feel as though they could have had Darby Allin just go into this and essentially this could have been somewhat of a squash match. Okay, it really could have been, but instead, what they tried to do going into this match, they tried to make you as that wrestling fan feel so heavily invested. They tried to make you feel as though, no. These two men that are facing each other, they are on even playing fields. They are equal to each other. And this is a problem that I've had for the longest time with AEW. Have they gotten a little better at it? They have. I'll give credit where it's due. But they still have a long ways to go. And a match like this is a prime example. Because how are you essentially going to have this match laid out in a way where Darby Allin is essentially meeting somebody that's coming off as his equal and Daniel Garcia, when essentially what we've been seeing of Daniel Garcia, here and there, he's pretty much been, if you want to give him the jobber status, you can definitely give him the jobber status. So that's one side of the coin you can look at it. The other side of the coin you can look at it as is, well, look, they tried to use this as a great way to have Daniel Garcia be elevated a bit more. They tried to give him an opportunity here to, stand out, here and not for nothing, but he's got the TV time working with 2.0 and all this other stuff. So, I mean, it's 50-50 depending on how you exactly want to look at this matchup. You can either look at this and say, well, I tolerated it really because of Darby Allin. I really don't care about the other guy or those other guys, 2.0 and, whoever. You can kind of look at it that way. Or, you can look at it in the most positive way possible. 2.0 post-match had attacked Garcia. Oh, correction, 2.0 and Garcia had attacked Darby. Sting pretty much, coming to the rescue and everything. Pretty much had made quick work of those guys. Now, from one kind of moment to another, Death Triangle back in the house. Death Triangle was backstage chatting it up. Ray was talking to Pac and reminding him, hey, we're the Death Triangle. We're supposed to be together. And you see all of this bullcrap that's going on with Andrade. What the hell is going on here? And Pac, sends a message to Andrade, which is, hey, we got you guys, but right now we need to focus on those tag team title shots opportunity because we're long overdue. We deserve some gold. Third matchup, Orange Cassidy, Wheeler Yuta. Kind of interesting. You see the new report that's floating around there online talking about how Wheeler Yuta was somebody that had a pretty good WWE tryout. Thought for sure he was going to be a bona fide lock for a contract and report to the Performance Center. Nice, somewhat tall, young guy in his 20s, and for whatever respected reasons, got turned away. WWE decided to go in a different direction. I know a lot of people, the narrative that's being put out there right now is, and I want you guys to really stop and think about this, and if nobody has really said this before, remember you heard this here first, and hopefully it becomes a trend going forward, because this is how you guys need to really be woke, hearing this stuff in regards to the WWE releases and all that. You keep hearing this narrative that's being put out there where supposedly Vince McMahon said, no more midgets. Okay, so no more small people. Okay, sure. But then you hear this stuff about, you know what? No more older guys. We got to have people that are in their 20s. We got to have big people too. We got to have tall people. Okay, so you hear that and you're going, well, what would you call a guy like Wheeler Yuta? What would you call a guy like Bronson Reed? What would you call a guy like Bray Wyatt? What would you call a guy like Braun Strowman? There's just a lot of head-scratching things that kind of, okay, I hear this one narrative that's being put out there, but if I really take a step back and I really think about it, to kind of quote one of my favorite lyrics of a Pearl Jam song, as nothing as it seems. You feel where I'm coming from? So, I definitely feel, and we'll talk a lot more about NXT in a little bit, because I've got a lot of unflattering things to say, but yet positive things to say about this week's NXT. You want to say that a change is coming for NXT? Yeah, but pump the brakes. Let's not go so fast. But I got to admit to you guys, Wheeler Yuta, if I saw him before, maybe under a different name, I wouldn't know it offhand. I would need somebody to kind of remind me. But this was no bullshit. As far as I can recall, this was like my official first time really seeing this guy and watching him, and I gotta tell you, he's got a great look. He's got a damn great look. I like how he is in the ring. Pretty promising. I would have to say. Losing effort that he had in the match that he had tonight there, as he took on, bear with me a second here and I can tell you, Wheeler Yuta, we were just there. Wheeler Yuta took on, it was Orange Cassidy, Wheeler Yuta, and Chuck Taylor taking on Matt Hardy and Private Party. He looked pretty damn good, that Wheeler Yuta kid. I totally sincerely mean that. It's interesting too, because I kept looking at him and I had to snap out of it from the standpoint, I kept thinking I was looking at Pepe Le Pew Garza. I kept thinking I was looking at Angel Garza. And I think you guys would definitely agree. Yeah, he does look a lot like Angel Garza. What the fuck is going on there? Team of Matt Hardy, Private Party, picking up the dub there in that third matchup. Those guys, okay matchup. It was a good one. Not quite, not too shabby. Andrade, backstage yet again. AEW, thank you. I'm not going to take all the credit. All right? I'm not going to take all the credit. I've been telling you guys, look, when you've been doing your thing with the podcasting and all that for the good number of years that I've been doing it, you know, wrestlers of all types eventually make their way. They check out your show, and quietly, and it's happened to me, quietly I've had wrestlers send me a DM or they'll send me an email, you know, many times over the years, even recently. And then you'll have those that won't make any announcements whatsoever, but motherfuckers are connected to certain promotions. And there are very specific things that I have said on this show over the years, and the very next week or 2 weeks later, the shit that I say on this show materializes. Example, can't stress it enough. I was very specific about how AEW needed to handle Andrade in his speaking roles going forward. One of the things that I was very passionate about was do not let him cut promos live in front of the crowd because they will devour him. He will not be able to get himself over. Protect him. If you're going to have him talk English, that's fine, but let it be in pre-produced segments. Let him be very short. Let him be to the point. If you want to give him some nice little zingers that can kind of have the fans remember, oh yeah, he said that funny shit, man, he carried the hell out of when he said, okay, that's fine. But for the most part, let it be a pre-produced thing. I even jumped out there as far as to say, do the English subtitle text. And AEW has implemented all of those things with Andrade so far. So to that point, AEW, keep at it. You're doing good in the way you're utilizing Andrade so far. But yeah, Andrade was backstage with Chavo, and he called Pac ungrateful. Chavo pretty much acting like a freaking canary. Oh, yeah. You know, like a fucking repeater. And Andrade was kind of getting a little irritated there. He's like, hey, you know, Chavo, I'm the boss. I'm in charge. And Chavo, the way he just spun that, of course you're in charge. You are the boss. But, you know, obviously a guy like Pac, you know, and the other guys in Death Triangle, they don't know that, but they need to know that, and they're going to learn that very, very soon. So I like the way that they had pretty much spun that there. I like the way they had spun that. Is it me, or does Chavo Guerrero look more and more like Jason Kidd? Boy, don't even get me started on those reports out there about Jason Kidd. That shit that is about to drop from Giannis's book. Giannis, I'm not going to even try to... Giannis, the Greek freak. Come on now. If I've had my share of saying a few names over the years and botching them big time. A Tempe Kupo. You see, I tried. At least you can say I tried. But you know, the Greek freak Giannis, he's got that book that's going to be coming out. And if you didn't check out some of the passage that was said about Jason Kidd, that's all I got to say. Check that out when you guys get a free moment. Yeah, we definitely, I'll probably show some love now that we got football kind of getting ready to come back in rotation and everything. I'll probably talk a lot more sports in the coming weeks for you guys, because I know some of you guys missed that. By the way, you guys been enjoying the show so far. Do me a huge favor, because it helps me out a ton. Don't cost you guys a thing. Make sure you hit that like button. When you guys do that, you pretty much help us get more eyeballs on the product. Feel free to subscribe too when you guys get a chance, if you haven't done so already, and make sure you don't miss out on all the great content that comes your way. Fourth matchup of the night, Nyla Rose taking on Chris Statlander. Good match, pretty good showing for Statlander, who picked up the dub. Enjoyed this. I enjoyed this. Pretty good. Both girls seem to flow pretty well together. Let's see. Probably the really coolest spot of the night was Britt Baker being interviewed there by Tony Schiavone, as Britt is out there and she's got Penguins inspired gear and all that, and she was really sucking up to the crowd there, man, talking about how, you know, she will be their hero. And all I could think of is she was just giving this nice speech and essentially putting herself over and, hey, you got a champion you can believe in, that you can be proud of. I was thinking of that. I was thinking of that one song, and I'm glad I don't know the fucking musician's name that sings this. Maybe it was Enrique Iglesias. Maybe it was him. He's like, "Let me be your hero, baby." Seriously, man. Seriously. So yeah, she was playing that up really, really good. And then just out of nowhere, Red Velvet jumps her from behind. And I mean, they just start brawling all over the ring. Nice little tussle there. Loved it. Loved it. I just ate that shit up. And remember, that's going to be the main event match for this Friday's AEW Rampage. So that should be pretty good. We were talking about it just briefly. The Impact World Tag Titles. That was your fifth matchup of the evening as Dark Order, Stu Grayson, Evil Uno took on the Good Brothers. Good Brothers retaining the Impact Tag Titles. Look, I've watched enough Carl Anderson. When Carl Anderson wants to, he can put on a really good, entertaining match. Whether that's as a singles guy or he's in a tag match and he just decides, man, I'm fucking bringing it. No doubt about that. Lou Gallows, that's a unique taste. That's a unique taste. It's no different than not everybody likes sardines, right? Not everybody likes caviar. I always forget, but then wifey reminds me. I say, how come we don't get caviar again? How come you don't let me do caviar sometimes? And she says to me, you don't want that because it's extremely salty. It's way saltier than sardines. Like it's really not eatable, like really. She's like, yes, it's very salty. I'm like, okay. So you gotta have a unique taste for it. Hey, or another example. I like pork rinds. She doesn't. She can't stand it. She won't eat them. She's just now been able to stomach the smell of them. But she won't eat them worth a damn. Nope. She could lose a bet. She won't do it. She won't do it. I've tried. Trust me, I've tried. Yes. In this household, the Sanders men tortures the women. Yes. In a funny way, of course. Being lighthearted here. See, other than that, QT Marshall, there was some weird segment where QT Marshall had Tony Schiavone in the ring and he was trying to get an apology out of him, and it just kind of went in another direction where QT Marshall decides, okay, you know what? I'm just going to get your son in here. Your son's been aspiring to be a pro wrestler, right? We'll apologize, or, we're going to give him a nice, good, proper introduction. Tony Schiavone kind of did one of those half-assed apologies. It wasn't accepted. They pretty much did a serious number on Schiavone's kid. And, when you first hear, oh shit, they're actually putting his kid in the ring, you're thinking, must be a teenager that's probably going to get his ass handed to him. Nah, it was a grown-ass man. It was a grown-ass man that pretty much, okay. But Paul White came out pretty much for the save. Pretty much after the damage was done, and he went in there and pretty much had cleaned house there. Good shit. Kind of like that. I like the stare down that QT and Comorado had with Paul White. So you kind of get this vibe that eventually those two big guys, they're gonna collide. Should be good. I'm most curious to see that. I'm kind of itching to see Paul White back in action, to be perfectly honest with you. Not on a regular basis, but I do want to see what's going on with him because it's been a while, man. It's been a while. Main event match of the night, Chris Jericho in labor once again. Did he give birth this time? Well, Chris Jericho taking on Wardlow. You know what? I like the way this match was booked. Yes, it was a little bit sloppy. Wardlow is still a bit green. There is no doubt about it, especially with his footwork. He's definitely green. But I like the way this match was told. One of my biggest concerns going into this match was, well, hopefully we're not going to see Wardlow be defeated cleanly in the middle of the ring by Jericho, because you look at this guy Wardlow, he definitely has a bright career ahead of him, and not really sure that makes a lot of sense in the world to have this, this blue chipper of an athlete lose. You feel where I'm coming from? So for me, I really looked into this matchup saying hopefully there's going to be some type of fuckery going on, that it's going to take some type of a distraction, maybe a foreign object, in order for Jericho to even try to get a dub on Wardlow. And that's exactly how things had played out in this main event match. Jericho did not defeat Wardlow straight up clean one-on-one. It pretty much took a baseball bat to the face to put Wardlow in place. But there's another interesting underlying development that's going on here in this matchup that I don't think a lot of people are going to be focusing on this week, and they really should be talking about this. Prior to this match coming about, Wardlow, MJF, really it was MJF, he was eating his apple, kind of having his Carlito moment, and he was hyping up this match that was to come later on in the night between Jericho and Wardlow. And, Wardlow had some nice little parting shots of his own, and MJF was very quick to point out, oh, yeah, kind of like how you fumbled the ball there with, threw it in his face and told him, tonight you go, you get the fucking job done. And he put his half-eaten apple in Wardlow's hand and walked off there. So kind of looking at that, and then looking at the fact of Wardlow losing this match, you kind of just can't help but look a little bit further down the road here and just kind of say to yourself, what happened tonight, what we've kind of gotten off and on between MJF and Wardlow, there's enough seeds that's been planted there where eventually MJF could grow very tired, very frustrated of Wardlow, kick him to the curb, and then what? I mean, you just kind of feel that it's definitely on the horizon. Like I said, when you just go back and you trace all the steps, all the little seeds that's been planted along the way, there's enough. Remember, there was that one joint several months back where Wardlow was up to here with MJF. I don't know if you guys recall, but MJF put him in his place and told him, well, remember, you weren't doing a damn thing. Remember who you are before I came into your life. Remember how you were struggling financially to make ends meet, how you were living, the crap-ass job that you had. I brought you into this business. I pretty much gave you your start. Remember that storyline? So, and that's essentially how and why Wardlow's been with MJF ever since, no matter what. But you can't help but think about everything that's happened since that particular moment I talked about, and all those other seeds that's been planted, including what went down tonight, and then it all culminating in that defeat Wardlow had at the hands of Jericho. You just can't help but going forward. So where are we going? Where are we going with this here? So kind of marinate on that for a little bit. Post-match, Shawn Spears attacks Jericho from out of nowhere. Sammy Guevara gets in there, rushes in for the save. Wardlow tossing out Sammy. Nice little brawling that you got going on. Finally, it comes down to MJF, Jericho. MJF manages to grab Jericho and pretty much torquing that arm of Jericho's a bit. Spears, Wardlow double team while Sammy and MJF, they're continuing to loan a hand there, really sabotaging the hell out of Jericho's arm, doing as much work as they can. Finally, Sammy Hager comes out, pretty much clears the ring. MJF, top of the ramp, tells Jericho, okay, you know what? You got your little rematch, but you don't even know the stipulations for this match you're going to have with me. But he breaks it down. He tells him that next week he's going to take away pretty much something that Jericho really loves and appreciates, something that's very near and dear to him. He's going to take away the Judas effect. No Judas effect. No Judas music. Chris Jericho is going to come out to dead silence. And if Jericho hits the Judas effect, MJF automatically wins. And he pretty much gives a prediction that as far as next week goes, Jericho is going to find out that he, MJF, is in fact his successor, and that there's going to be a new king in town, and his name is Maxwell Jacob Friedman. And that pretty much was the end of Dynamite. You know, of all the stipulations, you know what would have been even cooler? How about no Judas effect? No Walls of Jericho. No Code Breaker. Right? Like no Lion Salt. You know, why not really up the ante and fucking go there. I mean, if you're going to say no Judas effect, no music whatsoever, like, nah, fuck all that. Let's really fucking sweeten the kitty here. Let's really up the ante here. Been kind of lackluster what's been going on with these. I'm telling you, it feels literally like a campaign mode for a WWE 2K game. You know, you're in fucking campaign mode and you're trying to fucking do the joints off the checklist in order to progress further into the campaign. And, you know, don't fail. Because, I mean, if you do fail, you know, it's not like it's, well, really it is game over. You really stop to think about it because you can't advance any further. You know, so you're going to be frustrated for a little bit, but, you know, eventually, you know, you'll get the controls down. That's how it feels with this shit, man. That's how it feels. But overall, decent little episode of Dynamite. Look, it wasn't a must-see Wednesday episode. It wasn't a must-see edition. However, if you were a little bit curious just to see how they were going to lay down the foundation for AEW Rampage this Friday, you know, I think they whet the appetite just a bit. I think they did. I remember there was a question that was asked, if not last week, it might have been, no, I'm pretty sure it was last week. Probably was like early last week. Somebody had asked a question about, you know, possibly CM Punk on the first AEW Rampage show, I think was the question. And I remember saying at the time, well, you know, that doesn't quite, you know, make any sense because, you know, unless I missed something, you know, no, the next show, the second episode, that's supposed to be in Chicago. So if you're going to do anything potentially with CM Punk, wouldn't it make more sense to, right? And yeah, I'm well aware of the interview that CM Punk had put out earlier today. I think it was with the Main Event podcast or something like that. Saturday Night Main Event podcast or something like that. And something Main Event. That much I know. Something Main Event. And I mean, not really. I'll have to rely on you guys. But from the transcript that I read and a little bit of audio that I heard, there really wasn't anything that was juicy, you know, to hear there. For those of you that had missed it, just the bullet points, and there's really not even many. It's like really two that comes into mind. He talked about how he is talking about doing some type of a screening for the first 3 episodes of his Stars series, Heels, starring Stephen Amell. So he was talking about doing some type of a screening for that. What else? Also, apparently, while he was doing his training on the Heels TV show, you know, a lot of people had said as far as him, you know, in the ring, looking to be pretty good and everything, like in-ring shape-wise, looks pretty damn good. I'm trying to think what else. He also talked about, you know, his early conversations with Tony Khan, you know, everything kind of going back to 2019 and everything. What else? I'm trying to think. I wish I could remember what was going on with that screening, because he said something about a screening that he was doing for heels. I can't remember if he said it was going to be this weekend or if it's the following weekend that he's supposed to be doing some type of a screening. But he said he really wasn't sure just yet because it was just preliminary talks. He even had something to say about the whole rumors of Best in the World, talked about Darby Allin's promo, and CM Punk was very quick to point out, as a lot of people, including myself, had said, well, that could mean Daniel Bryan. And CM Punk even said, yeah, I've heard a lot about that, but, don't you think that they're probably talking about Daniel Bryan? I mean, and he even said, when I think about Best in the World, Daniel Bryan definitely comes to mind. He's the man. So, I don't know, man. Usually CM Punk has an interesting way of being very candid and always trying to be right down the middle and not bullshitting or misleading folks. So I'm curious to see how this is going to pan out. I'm very curious to see how this is going to pan out. So, but again, look, if Punk were to show up on this Friday episode of Rampage, hey, that'd be fucking fantastic. But I'm just not seeing it. Like, why on a TV network would be my question. Why on a TV network? Wouldn't it make more sense to, when it counts the most, do it on a pay-per-view that, let's be honest, you want to get as many eyeballs on that product as possible. You want to get as many pay-per-view buy rates as possible. You didn't watch All Out? Oh, make sure you order the Encore because this had happened. Don't you think that makes a lot more sense? We don't need to go down the WCW route where you think about the infamous, when Goldberg took the title off of the Hulkster and everybody was saying, man, that arena was so filled up. Like, just imagine if we would have put it on a pay-per-view instead of a Nitro. Right? So the question is asked, do you really want to, right? That's good for 1 week, but then what are you going to do the next week? Got a special announcement I want to make for you guys. I told you guys we were going to make the announcement. It's wrestling related and all that as well. So you guys are going to love this. So for our newer listeners that may not know, many years ago, I actually had helped run, operate, provided original content and everything for a wrestling website called TNA Insider. And man, the way that had came about, I couldn't even tell you. I think it was just one of those things where the guy that was in charge of the whole site, he pretty much was paying the bills for it. He just everything. Me and him had built such a great rapport with each other online. We never met. We always corresponded via emails. And, there would be some personal conversation that we would have, here and there, getting to know each other and everything. And I don't know, one day somehow it just came about, hey, you want to help out with the site? And anybody that remembers the TNA Insider website back then, it was, y'all saw how long that TNA Mecca site had lasted, right? I remember the early versions of that TNA Mecca site. They were a blatant ripoff of TNA Insider. And that's the God's honest truth. But somehow, I think Darren, for TNA Insider, I think Darren was the guy's name. And the next thing you know, there I am. I'm just regularly and any news, especially from a TNA Impact Wrestling standpoint, that I was able to come across, because sometimes I'd be able to break some stuff, or I'd be interviewing somebody, they would always get first dibs, and they would have the rippling effects that way. And I remember when that website eventually was no more, because Darren had got up to here with just everything associated. I mean, when you got right down to the heart of the matter, and I haven't heard from him since, because I tried messaging him a couple of times, off and on, once he was done with the site, and then off and on over the years. I mean, he pretty much, as far as all things wrestling goes, That's a guy that fell out of love with pro wrestling. I bullshit you not. He just fell out of love with it. And I remember just how everything had came about. Just one day, it was just, yeah, he's done. And it was like, okay, so what are we doing here? And it was like, well, we can still operate it. We still got the admin access and all of that. It's all on us now. So I led the charge. I had put, all our teams together, and we were just, you know, picture how Eric Bischoff was trying to do things with that Big Bang pay-per-view for WCW, the whole rebirth and all that. So we were getting into that process of, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do this. And I had laid everything out beautifully, how everything had involved the social media pages and all of that. But when it came to the website itself, Darren had decided that he wanted to sell the website and that he was willing to sell it to us, but we had to meet his asking price. And back then, oh my God, this guy wanted like about $3,000 to $5,000 for the website. Bullshit you not. He wanted like $3,000 to $5,000 for the website. And we just kind of were like, okay, this doesn't make any sense because we're still doing all the work. He's not doing anything. He is essentially still making some type of money off of the site. So why be so pressed to sell it? It was kind of that whole thing. And eventually that website just, because the plans that we had for that site, we were able to do, but so much is the point that I'm making. But eventually that site had met its demise. And I think most of you guys know how long TNA Mecca had lasted. That was a whole joke. I remember when TNA Mecca had came a call, and TNA Mecca, they actually tried to hit me up because they remembered my work from the TNA Insider stuff. And they actually had tried to get me to work for them. And I told them flat out, I said, no, I'm good. I'm not really interested. Then they tried to take some of my work that featured my interviews with Impact Wrestling stars. I remember when we were weekly covering Impact Wrestling with Impact Showdown. They tried to take some of those episodes, put it on their website. And I told them flat, I said, no. I said, we're not doing it like that. It's like, I want no association with your site whatsoever. I don't want you taking my episodes and putting them on your site. Any news that you happen to come across from my show, I don't want it associated with your site. Like, I don't really like how you guys are operating. I don't really like what you guys are about. Want nothing to do with you. Hey, they obliged me, and that pretty much was the end of it. But again, if you remember TNA Mecca, good God Almighty. So that was a fun little journey. As longtime listeners know, writing is definitely one of my passions. It's definitely one of my passions besides what I do here for you guys on a weekly basis. But when you put it all under one big umbrella, it all ties to media. It all ties into some form of journalism, basically. I went back to school recently. It's what I'm in school for. I'm in college majoring in a degree for broadcast media. So, one thing that I had learned from when I officially went back earlier this year, at the start of this year, one thing that I had learned as time had progressed was, wow, not only do I have this great ability, but there is talent that's there. And sometimes you kind of need for other people. I don't know if sometimes you guys are kind of like that, but sometimes you need for other people to validate your work, especially if you hit a couple of rough patches where maybe you came across somebody that was acting a little bit spiteful, a little bit jaded, trying to hit you below the belt and everything. And that's definitely what I had experienced in the previous years when, I was doing work as a special contributor, for another website. And I won't go into that whole, because it's water under the bridge. But I got to tell you, for a good number of years, it definitely took the wind out of me as far as working with sites and, things of that nature. One website that I think is just top notch quality good. The people that are behind the site, they are a good group of people. I love how they all work very well together. And anytime I have done something, interview wise or whatever, they've been gracious enough to pick up my stuff, run with it. Anytime I've done some type of a collaboration with Anthony Missionary Thomas of Wrestling Soup, they've been very kind to run it. And, it's funny how everything had came about. But I'm going to be a special contributor. I'll be writing. We're just starting off slow for these guys. But I'm going to be writing for 411 Mania, effective this Friday. I'm excited. My assignment, and I accepted it. I pretty much knew the conditions beforehand and said, look, okay, this is what's up. Like, I'll do it. I'm basically going to be writing up the reviews / coverage in real time for AEW Rampage. So, and that's all I'm going to be doing for now, because, my workload is pretty as it is. So, I'm pretty excited. I'm very, very excited to get that seal of approval and stamp from these guys saying, we really like the way that you write. We really like the way that you go about, reporting and all that, reviewing stuff. It's like, we want to offer you the job, you down? And it's like, yeah, like, let's do it. So I'm very excited. I'm very excited to, now, of course, I'll still be working on my website, rcwrshow.com. I'll still be working on original. Only reason why it has been kind of quiet on the website right now is because I'm so focused on AWESOMECON. You guys have no idea. Like, I have no hair, but I'm literally pulling my beard with regards to AWESOMECON. I'm fucking pulling. I'll be glad. Because I told the wifey yesterday. I said, when I'll finally be at ease with AWESOMECON is when I'm actually at the event. I'm at the podium or a little table or whatever. Mic's in my hand. I'm looking to my left. Mish is right there. Looking out front. Tammy's recording. She's giving me a smile. I'll be all right. Because my nerves is just the anxiety, man. It's just, but I'm happy to be working with 411 Mania as a special contributor. So you guys, every Friday night, when AEW Rampage is on, you want to show some extra love, just, come on the site. You'll be able to, leave comments in real time as the information is coming in and all that. Pretty cool. Pretty fucking cool. So I'm excited. I am tremendously excited to be doing this, to not just get the seal of approval of my writing from, these guys, but to have my professors even say, yo, you're such a really good writer. You sometimes write a little too much, you got a academic format. It's like, once you're on your own as a writer, man, then you can write however you want to write. But, we got to, so they kind of had to reprogram me a little bit. And it's kind of good how they did it. So, if there's one thing I kind of want to, and I got to give a shout out to Salina De La Renta, because it basically all matches up to what I'm saying, which is, if you're very passionate about something, boys and girls, follow it through. Stay the course. You may have some people that will act as detractors and say to you, oh, that's silly. Why are you wasting your time on that? That's That's silly. That's beneath you. You're not going to get anywhere with that. You're not good enough for. If it's something that you're really passionate about, you love doing, stay with it. Fucking stay with it and see that motherfucker all the way through. Don't deter from it because other people are essentially saying to you that you can't. Follow those dreams, follow those passions, and I think, if Salina De La Renta were to hear exactly what I'm saying, I think she would definitely agree with that as well. I was going to mention a little bit later on in the show, but it kind of blends in with everything considered because I don't know if you guys follow on social media, but she had revealed earlier today that she's been accepted to Full Sail University. And she basically got the green light for like 2 scholarships that's pretty much going to cover her getting her bachelor's. And she loves business, networking and all of that. So she's been very consistent on her education over the years in regards to that. So to hear that she's gonna be doing that, it's exactly like what I had said to her. And in reacting to that news and everything, I told her, I said, very happy for you, seriously. When I went back last year to resume my degree in broadcast media, my biggest regret, not going back sooner. It's all about following your passion, your dreams, and never settling. Forward, always forward. So always kind of have that mindset. Don't let nobody tell you can't do something that deep down. If you just focus and you just see it through, do you? That's one of my favorite Slum Village songs. Do you? Well, actually, no, not Slum Village. It's kind of related to Slum Village, but I'm thinking of Illa Dilla and oh God, what's the Yancey Boys? That's what I'm thinking of. Do you? Just do like that. Just do that song. Do you? So sorry to be a little bit long-winded, but that's how this show is at times, man. We talk real life shit. And, we mix it in with wrestling and all that. So sorry, not sorry if we're not always full blown 24/7 wrestling. And be honest with you, we're actually almost done with the show because right after we get done talking about NXT for tonight, just a couple of key points. The Darby Allin stuff, Max Caster stuff, that's really going to be it. Speaking of Max Caster, let's go ahead and let's go there. So look, Max Caster, you see how all the websites were jumping out there. Oh, he got fired. He's been fired because, he's been removed from these episodes. Oh, they removed him, the Acclaim. They removed those guys from the AEW Power Rankings. Oh, this had went down. Oh, that went down. Oh, he's been suspended and all this other shit. And then you've got more reputable, including the Meltzers and all of them, you got more reputable people that's going, no, that's actually not the truth at all. Not fired, possibly suspended. Some of the things that I had said on the show from, what was it? Was it last week? Which was basically, look, if I'm Tony Khan, remember what I said? I said, look, if I'm Tony Khan, I'm going to suspend this guy for a couple of weeks. In addition to that, I'm going to fine him. I'm going to take some of that money of his, or all of it. I'm going to donate it towards charity. I'm going to get him some type of sensitivity training. I want him to visit shelters for, abused women, raped victims. I want him to maybe go to a suicide call center and, because you just, now that we know, especially what was going on with Simone Biles, now just stop and think about that. Just to kind of follow up on what me and Tams talked about on Wrestling with the Topics, which we had dropped, what was it, earlier this week, actually, like to basically kick off the week. Remember what I had said about the Simone Biles thing? Everybody was so quick to jump on this girl. Oh, what she mean? She's having a mental breakdown. What she mean? She's getting paid all this good money. What the hell she mean? She got to take a step back, cause she's mentally not into it. What the hell is she talking about? Right? Remember all those people that were talking a big tough game, talking mad trash about Simone Biles. These were the same motherfuckers that when they saw Chadwick Boseman in the final moments of his precious life on this earth, were making fun of him because of how he looked when he was on his webcam. And I think it was something charitable, something important that he was doing, and why he did that whole webcam thing. And people were just going on and on and on and on and on about how he looked, and how he just eventually abruptly ended the feed and all that. And it turns out he had cancer. If those bastards had any type of a soul, some type of human compassion, hopefully they looked themselves in the mirror and said, man, did I fuck up? Never again. You look at what happened there with Simone Biles. Turns out her aunt died. And that really just fucked her up. And for it to fuck her up like that, obviously that particular family member, that particular individual meant a lot to them in their personal life. It meant a lot to them. So you got all these motherfuckers jumping the gun. Bad websites, bad dirt sheets and shit. Max Caster was fired, Yeah, he was let go from AEW. And it's like, no, he's just, things are on thin ice with this guy right now because of everything that was said. And yeah, no shit, you probably don't want this in the forefront right now in the minds of, especially when you got all of these great things that's happening for the AEW promotion right now, and all the great things that's going to be happening in the very near future with AEW. So the latest reports, most accurate reports from reputable people, is basically no, what's currently going on with him. Tony Khan's just giving him some tough love right now. He'll be back. No ETA win, but he'll be back. Sensitivity training, is what he's getting and everything. And to that, I say good. But to follow up on what I had said on social media this week, that's great. If we as a society are going to go after Max Caster for the choice words that he had to say, okay. All right, I'm down. I can see you. But I need that same energy to also go towards the fans that were there at that AEW taping. What was it? A week? You had those fans that watched what they watched in real time. Why didn't any of those fans that were in attendance get on Max Caster, get on AEW's ass right there on the spot? Why didn't these fans get on social media right then and there during that taping to talk about, man, I'm disgusted, man, Max Caster said da 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 da? Why didn't the fans get the ball rolling then? And instead the fans essentially had jumped on it when the news finally came out and the episode was released pretty much in its original form. Where was that scrutiny then? Look, I agree as far as Max Caster, but let's make no mistake about it here, man. There's enough blame to go around like a pizza pie. Everybody can have a fucking slice of that shit. So the fans in attendance, they need to get theirs as well, besides Max Caster. Tony Khan, I just can't help but wonder exactly where was he that he did not hear this. Was he in a soundproof car? Where was he? Was he, seriously, was he wearing headphones? Was he getting a blowjob? I want to know what was going on with him that he could not. I think he's actually telling the truth, because it seems so simple, doesn't it? When you hear his reply, as far as where he was and everything, it just seems so simple. And of course, the video editor. mean, you had a whole week to edit this shit. You also got to get on the video editor. There is enough to go around for everybody. There's enough self-accountability to go all the way around with that. But I just thought it was so funny. I had a nice hearty chuckle at everybody that was, just trying to assume that because Max Caster was pulled from this advertised match, Max Caster was pulled from the AEW rankings over here. Oh, there's no mention of AEW and Max Caster's profile. So he's done with the company. Motherfuckers change their goddamn profile all the fucking time. Their little profile header. They change that info all the fucking time. Matter of fact, right down to the point. If I were to change my Twitter header right now, currently it reads former market analyst, essential worker, podcaster, and voice actor, covering entertainment and beyond since 2011. Fight TV contributor. So I guess if I were to remove the Fight TV contributor and put the 411 Mania contributor, which I am going to do, if not tonight, definitely tomorrow. I guess, as far as news, Lee Sanders of the RCWR show is no longer working with Fight TV. Well, wow, I guess that's news because I do follow his show. What happened? What went down with Fight TV? Our sources are saying that he no longer works for Fight TV. Meanwhile, I'm still creating content for Fight TV. I'm still putting money in their pockets when I'm ordering, their little pay-per-view events or my little subscriptions and all of that shit. Like, I've yet to have a motherfucker come to me and go, "Hey Lee, we saw that you took the Fight TV joint off your header profile there. What happened?" Oh, I'm gonna try to figure out a way to bring that back. You only have so much wording in there, and I just recently started with 411 Mania, but I'm actually still with Fight TV. Yeah, I just got to be clever about how I can squeeze both of them in there. But no, I'm actually still with them. It's just, yeah. People, we got to stop with the social media. It's the FOMO. You listen to Wrestling with the Topics, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's the FOMO. It's the fear of missing out. And, that's how it is for a lot of these joints, man. A lot of these dirt sheets, they're just throwing shit on the wall. And I'm guessing, yeah, that's what's going on. And they're just hoping that the shit sticks so that, I look at it like this. They got their little target on the wall, and the darts are their speculations, their ideas of what they think is happening behind the scenes. Rather than just say, hey, opinion, personal opinion. There's nothing wrong with saying that. There's nothing wrong with saying, okay, here's the facts. Evaluation or 2 cents from a distance. If you want to go, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But a lot of these, they want to feel like, no. We're just going to throw those ideas, those speculation ideas on the wall. And whatever sticks, that's what we're going to go with. Because then we can turn right around. See, we told you guys. But yeah, that was after you threw about 200 darts on the wall. 200 darts of ideas on the wall is what you threw before you finally got that 201 dart that actually stuck. And even at that was a guess as well. Ay. That's how it is. So that's Max Caster. Now let's talk about the Darby Allin stuff. I didn't forget about NXT. We'll talk about NXT, but again, I only want to talk about key points from NXT. Let's talk about Darby Allin. You see this shit that's going on here with Darby Allin and these allegations that has essentially resurfaced. I talked about this kind of, and it's interesting too because originally I wanted to talk about this last week, but I didn't get a chance to because of all the craziness that went down with those NXT releases and all that. But you guys that, don't quite know, and shout out to AEW. I'm sure Tony Khan and them, I'm sure they had some type of a heart-to-heart talk with Darby to get down to the heart of the matter of all this stuff that was resurfacing and, pretty much go from there and everything. So a former girlfriend of Darby Allin's by the name of Holly Cromwell, she took to social media and basically had talked about how Darby Allin abused her in the past. She's accusing him of abusing her in the past. These allegations come 1 year after the speaking out movement. And she said, I'm tired. I'm so fucking tired and I don't care anymore. Darby Allin abused me. He abused me. And I'm tired of being called a liar by fans who have no idea the shitty person he really is. Somehow, no one remembers. I'll never forget how you treated me like shit. So, rewind this back. Why am I bringing up the speaking out movement? Why am I bringing... Okay, rewind it back June 2020 when that had began. Cromwell said that she wouldn't be naming anyone because she simply didn't feel comfortable doing so. So she did comment a year ago, but she didn't just flat out mention Darby Allin. So let's continue on here with regards to her. She goes on to say, it got to the point where I was so disassociated and was walking on eggshells all the time that I didn't say much. And if I didn't reply how he wanted, I would get screamed at. He would tell me if I didn't do things he wanted to, he was going to leave me. He also would threaten to leave me if I didn't have sex with him or do sexual things and perform sexual acts with him. It took me a long time to realize that threatening someone to have sex with you isn't consent, it's rape. I struggle with this to this very day and have so many fears around sex and around intimacy. That's what she said. Now, she followed up on this, and there was a post that she put out late last week. I want to read to you guys what she had said. This is pretty heavy. Got to tell you, it's pretty heavy. It's been really hard to formulate this. I've always been afraid because people wouldn't believe me or say, oh, that's not that bad. Thinking of it makes me relive so many bad things. Between 2016 and 2017, I had an on-again, off-again with another wrestler. He ruined my mental health on a lot of things I'm still struggling with. He would talk about my family as if they were every problem I have in my life. He would get upset and scream at me and yell and treat me like his personal punching bag. He never laid a hand on me. Just mental punching bag. It got to the point where I was so disassociated and was walking on eggshells all the time that I didn't say much. And if I didn't reply, how he, so we pretty much went into all that. So we can skip all that. All right. Now she goes on to say, no, that's it. So we read everything. Yeah, everything is literally similar to, so that's the official post. All right. So we got that. So it gets even more interesting because she follows up later. Same day. She follows up maybe about 40 minutes later. And she says, also for everyone saying his ex said he changed, here's her attacking me, saying my rape isn't valid because it didn't happen like hers, and completely disregarded the fact that I was under his thumb and stuck with the abuse. Of course, Priscilla Kelly at one point dated Darby Allin. So here's what Priscilla Kelly had to say Lord, you guys and social media, I keep telling you guys, I'll get to that in a little bit. Here's what Priscilla Kelly had to say. You should really delete that tweet. I know you didn't name names. However, it's not hard to figure out who you are referring to. Let me get personal here. I was sexually assaulted when I was younger. I cannot stomach the thought of being in the same room as that person, let alone attempting to befriend their wife as you did with me. There's much more context than you are letting on, and it's not right to potentially bury someone with lack of context and information just to gain sympathy for yourself for relevancy. It may have been a bad relationship, but there is no room for you to make statements considering it to be rape, especially considering you were the one begging him to be with you after breaking I'm going to a new joint, breaking up numerous times. Understand what you are doing when you make statements like this and what you are talking about. There are two sides to this, and I know who I am married to. While he may not be perfect, he is not a rapist or sexually abusive. Now, you know what? I got no problem with what Priscilla Kelly had said. And obviously, Priscilla Kelly, she is at a much different stage in her life. She is in a much different position growth-wise in her life, in her career, all of that. All of that, okay? So I got no problem with anything that she said. She's pretty much saying, hey, pump the brakes here. You know, I hear where you're coming from. I know the pain you're talking about. I'm an actual victim. I get it. But saying that this guy, you know, even trying to insinuate rape and, you know, like, no. And when what you're doing, you know, seems like a relevancy tactic. You know, look at me. Okay? Priscilla Kelly is entitled to her own opinion and all that. Now, look, this girl, should she have shared that openly on social media, what Priscilla Kelly has said to her? No. You know, it almost comes off as a cheap tactic. It almost comes off as a, hey, look what this person said. I'm going to expose this. Look what this person said. You know, if you're trying to make this be all about you, your experiences, everything that you went through, your trials, your tribulations, your story, then if somebody is leaving you a comment, you know, look, granted, it's one thing if somebody private messages you, wishes you death and all this other fucking bullshit, and you're kind of like, man, you know what, that wasn't exactly nice. Yeah, fuck this person. Okay, you wanna air out some shit. First of all, hopefully you thought your shit through. You're prepared for the pros and cons of it, and you thought about it passionately. Fucking go ahead, have at it, and whatever happens. It is what it is. But when you got somebody that's going out of their way to, okay, now look. Just as I told you guys some months back about Chris Hardwick. Remember the whole Chris Hardwick situation? Remember how that ex had came at him with the sexual abuse allegations and all that? Remember that? You had a TV show, The Wall, on NBC. They decided, we're going to pump the brakes on that. No more episodes going into production till we see what's going on with these claims that's out there. He was one of the co-founders for Nerdist.com. Remember how Nerdist.com basically did him? They omitted him from the website. All of that. They made sure his name was nowhere on that goddamn site. They didn't want any type of scrutiny coming from them whatsoever. His job with AMC on the Talking Dead shows, any appearances associated with that he was supposed to be doing, Comic-Con appearances, you name it. Oh, man. all that pretty much just got, nah, yeah, it's going to continue on, but Chris, yeah, buddy, you ain't going to be at the helm of those joints. There was a lot of shit that had went down, and I remember everybody was just out of the woodworks. And I remember during that particular period, I said, you know what? I'm not sticking up for the guy, but innocent until proven guilty, because what we're talking about here is allegations. We're talking about allegations, and of course, as with any allegation, if something is not true, and those allegations are being made against you, then you got to do everything in your power to stand on your own 2 feet and fight those allegations off. Don't cave in to the pressure. I mean, if you're innocent, what have you got to lose? You look at what happened with Cuomo. That's a good prime example. Cuomo, don't worry, we're not getting too sidetracked. We're still talking about Darby Allin, but you should see the connection, especially if you're a younger listener. You should see the connection I'm making here. Look at what was going on with Cuomo. When the allegations first popped up, he pretty much was just, nope, yep, throwing up his hand, like the shield. Nope, false. Nope, that's bullshit. Nope, bogus. Nope. Then this person said something. Now he's doing all these little, he was doing these little videos where he's like, oh, I kiss everybody. Gay, straight, trans, bi, drag, black, white, young, old, kid. I kiss everybody. I hug everybody. And it's like, dude, you trying a little bit too hard. Even those of us that don't even live in New York, we're going, dude, you're trying a little bit too hard. Yeah. Kind of creeping us out here, right? What happens? What happens this week? He resigns. And you're going, you only do that if there is some shit that is about to go down and your fucking red hand was caught in that cookie jar. They got your ass dead to rights. That's the only time. Because all the other time, innocent. It's like you stay the course. So I've always believed in that philosophy, innocent until proven guilty. Because who are we on social media to be judge, jury, and executioner? That's not our right. It's one thing if you want to have an opinion. You want to have an educated guess. But at the end of the day, it's just your opinion. That's one thing. That's fine. But where I have a problem with people when it comes to touchy subjects like this is when you act as though your opinion is a fact. That's dangerous territory right there. So in the case of Darby Allin, these are some bold allegations that was made. And the fact that up till now, Darby Allin has not responded to these allegations, I don't like that. I'm not a fan of that. Because the longer you let something like this linger on, the more that you let it grow. It's no different than, I don't know how many of you guys remember New Edition, but Johnny Gill. I remember for the longest time, everybody thought Johnny Gill was gay. I don't know. It seems like the shit really when he went solo. And I don't know if it was just because the way he looked or his lips. I don't know what it was, but motherfuckers said Johnny Gill was gay. And Johnny Gill just laughed it off, brushed it off, and he just let this damn thing grow for decades. That sadly, when he finally did address it, he addressed it on TV One's Unsung from a couple of years ago. And you're like, well, shit, you're almost an old man now. Why weren't you on top of this when at the height of your career? Left and right, tours, and why weren't you? So the longer you let something linger on, the longer you let an allegation, scandal just continue to grow and grow and grow. No different than Michael Jordan letting all these rumors grow about, his dad was popped because Jordan somehow is tied to the mafia. He owed so much money. So I don't like the idea of Darby Allin. If it's not true, he's not getting behind this. That looks pretty bad. I think that would look bad for a lot of people. It will look bad for you. It will look bad for me if we don't, right? So take that. You could also look at this and say, man, hell have no fury like a woman scorned. Because going back to that Chris Hardwick situation, as we all had saw eventually, you had ex-girlfriends of Chris Hardwick, parents of some of these ex-girlfriends. But home man on some of these ex-girlfriends, we even had ex-girlfriends that were now married, had kids, unanimously all came to the defense of Chris Hardwick. Chris Hardwick was even able to show emails and phone messages from this woman who was cheating on him. He wasn't feeling it. He wanted out because he felt it was pretty obvious what she wanted and everything, and he didn't want to have anything to do with it. And how she tried to pull the whole little biggie, give me one more chance. You could make an argument, oh, she saw he was going places. She didn't want to lose that meal ticket. Let me tell you something, man. I've been walking on God's green earth for 40 years now, going on 41 later this fall. Let me tell you something. I've seen a lot of green-eyed monsters in my time. I have seen a lot of motherfuckers that let that four-letter word that starts with a G and ends with a D get the best of them. And I'm talking about greed. And another four-letter word, envy. I've seen it get the best of motherfuckers. I've seen motherfuckers that have gone, I want what you got. What you got is what I need and where I need to be. Rather than, hey, I'd like to learn from you. What tools, what resources can you make available to me to help me get my game to the level of where you're at? Because I want to be as successful as you. It's not a handout. It's a help up. You got motherfuckers that don't try to look at it from that standpoint. Instead, you got motherfuckers that look at it from the standpoint of greed and envy, the jealousy, and anything they can do to sabotage you, all in the name of keeping you down. You got to look at that. You got to look at that. You're not in a really good place in your career, but man, this person that's doing XYZ, oh man, he's on TV every single week. Oh, he's about to be in the new Jackass movie. They made a fucking toy of him. Think about that. They made a fucking toy of him. He gets to team up every single week with a wrestling legend. Decent money in his bank account. He ain't struggling. He probably went from crackers and sardines that we referenced earlier, and if he wants to, he can go to Ruth Chris Steakhouse once a week if he wants to. Yeah, some of those people that were coming up along the way, they're definitely very appreciative. They're grateful of everything that's happening for him and his career and all that. But, ooh, jealousy. Jealousy. Always gets the best of people and has them do the shittiest fucking things. We've seen it with our own two eyes, people. Over the years, we've seen a lot of individuals that have taken certain movements. You don't have to go the whole rape, molestation, abuse allegations. You don't have to go that route. Look at the white woman a couple of years back that pretended to be black. Was one of the heads for the NAACP. Remember that? Remember the white woman that for a good number of years claimed she was black? And it turns out she wasn't black. That's some heavy shit. Think about that. So embarrassed So embarrassed for your own respected race, what you were born as, that rather than embrace just being you, being original, just being you, and you want to help out the black cause, you want to help out the black culture, and by just being you and being a really good advocate and just, getting in that way, you change your whole race, origins of your life, and all just this weird, okay? So, again, envy and all that other shit. So, now look, I'm not throwing this girl under the bus. I'm just making sure that you guys know that probably saw this story floating around. Don't be so quick to rush to judgment. Don't be so quick. Let's see how everything just plays itself out. Now, I will say this. You're talking to somebody that had a parent be in an abusive relationship. And I tell you what, when that parent finally had put their foot down and said, no more, I'm done with this shit. Boy, I tell you what, when they put their foot down, that was it. I didn't see no bullshit where 6, 7 months later, a year later, 5 years later, they reminisced about that piece of shit. They knew what happened. They used those experiences to make them stronger. And that was the end of that. This right here, you want to know how I honestly feel about this? You want to know how I'm honestly looking at this? All the points that I just presented to you guys. We all need to be just looking at all of these examples. There is no definitive, this is how we need to look at it. Collectively, everything that I just laid out. That's how we got to keep it all in mind. All in mind. But Darby Allin, if you're Darby Allin, you're Darby Allin's camp. The longer you let this play out in the public, being silent, not good. Not good. Now, let's say it's true. Let's say it's true that he was a verbal piece of shit. That he was mentally abusive. Let's say those things are true. Well, you know what? If you're Darby Allin, then you need to get out there. You need to get in front of this story. And you need to say, I was in a much different headspace during that time when I was dating blah, blah, blah. Was I an asshole? Yes. Was I a jerk? Yes. You best believe it. Was I battling some personal demons? Yes. Without a doubt, I was. I'm still a relatively young man. I still have a lot of maturing to do. But the mistakes that I had made specifically during that relationship, much different person now than I was then. I'm truly sorry for any pain, suffering I may have caused this individual. Any way I can help as far as maybe getting this person some type of psychiatric treatment, what have you, more than willing to do that. Hell, I am more than willing to be an advocate for, hey, no abuse to any human being, verbal or physical, so be it. But the longer this lingers on in silence from him, yeah, doesn't look good. I'm curious what you guys make of all of this stuff that had came about. So sound off. I'm most curious from you guys. Harley Cromwell, though. That's her name. Harley Cromwell. And just kind of looking up a little bit of her respected wrestling career here. This seems to be somebody. Give me a second here. Give me a second here. I'm looking at her profile right now. Let's see. Okay, so this is somebody that has been involved in the wrestling business since 2016. Since 2016, she's been involved in the wrestling business. Last thing that she did was May of this year. May of this year was actually the first thing that she did for this whole calendar year. She did something for the Ignite promotion. Before that, she was doing some stuff for GFW for a couple of joints. So the way it's kind of looking, it looks like she's doing wrestling events. It looks like she's doing wrestling events maybe 2-3 times a year, basically. Something to think about, man. Like I said, jealousy, greed, envy has an interesting way of getting people. That's all I'm saying. Not choosing sides. Just telling you guys how it is, man. What do I say about NXT? Just kind of lighten the mood up a little bit more. What do I say about NXT for this week? First of all, congrats to NXT for being able to pull in, what was it, guys? 700 and I believe it was 51,000 viewers or 21,000 viewers that they had got for this week. If you give me a second, I can actually pull it up here. 751,000 viewers they did for this week. Congrats. That's great. And this was on their official return to the USA Network. That's great. But you know what? For me personally, boy, that was a rough episode to watch. I got to tell you, that was one of the most... See, I'm saying most and least in the same sentence. We can't have that. That was my least favorite episode of NXT in recent months. For me, and I got to be consistent here. This isn't me, riding the AEW bandwagon. If I can be that same motherfucker that will be on this show, and I have been on this show and said, hey man, I'm not feeling the whole Wrestle House from Impact Wrestling. Oh my God, the Wrestle House. Oh, here we go again with the Wrestle House and the Johnny Bravo shit and all this other. At least I'm being consistent, right? If I'm going to act one way, I got to be the same way. For me, the stuff with Indy Hartwell, Dexter Lumis, I didn't care for it. Nothing personal against them, but just I'm just so like, I don't know. Do we really need Candice LeRae and Johnny Gargano in there? That's on the one hand. But then on the other hand, I'm looking at everything that had went down with these NXT releases. And, I can't help but go, yeah, exactly to fucking Shaq's point there. RIP NXT. I'm looking at NXT this week. Again, 751,000. Return to USA Network. That's great. But I care about quality than quantity. And the quality this week, I'm looking at this, I'm going, okay, so we released who again? So we can do this shit. That was my mindset. No bullshit. And I think for a lot of you guys, you got to be on my side of the fence here on that one, because you can't have it both ways. You either on this side or you on the other side. So you can't really, okay? So I didn't care about that. The continuation there with the Imperium Boys, MSK, yawn. Don't care for that. Don't care for that whatsoever. Even when it counted the most, Raquel Gonzalez, Dakota Kai, seeing them, passing up the ships, talking some hot trash, even that was pretty lackluster for this week. That whole episode was just one big old mood swing and a negative mood swing. The shit there with LA Knight, Cameron Grimes, Ted DiBiase coming on out there, and we've got this stipulation on the line where Cameron Grimes loses. LA Knight gets an upgrade. He goes from Cameron Grimes being his butler to Ted DiBiase being his butler. Yeah, if this was the 1990s, early 2000s, sure. But Ted DiBiase, like, only the diehards are really going to give a fuck about that. For me, there's just a lot of things I'm looking at with this NXT product, and I'm going, okay, how is this supposed to be relevant for that casual viewer? How is this even supposed to continue to be relatable and entertaining above all else for that hardcore NXT fan or that hardcore wrestling fan? And it's just flat on so many fronts. It's a lot of negative stuff I'm talking about with NXT, but you know what? There was one bright spot I enjoyed of NXT for this week. Dragunov taking on Pete Dunne. Oh, that Dragunov kid, a lot of promise. I see and smell money with that dude. No bullshit. I see something in him. I can't quite put my finger on it. There's a weird exoticness to it. There's money there. There is some money there for sure you can do off of that kid. But what he did with Pete Dunne for the main event, fucking fantastic. I loved what they did. Fucking fantastic. The confrontation between Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, flat. Very flat. Adam Cole was really the MVP of that because Kyle O'Reilly fumbling with his words. Look, everybody has an off night. Everybody does. But he just felt very, I won't say unreal, but you keep telling me Cole, O'Reilly 3. Look, I'm sure that's going to be a great match. I'm sure it is. But what they did in the ring with their little talking segment, for me, Cole is what really sold that shit. And if somewhere down the line Cole is ultimately going to move from NXT, is all I got to say. Odyssey Jones looks pretty promising, though. You want to have somebody follow in the footsteps of a Karrion Kross, Keith Lee. I seriously believe Odyssey Jones, a lot of good shit that can be done with him. Seriously. But yeah, just going through the motions with NXT. Look, not for nothing, I wasn't the only one that felt the same way about NXT, because I remember when I was watching NXT, and I actually had watched NXT to make sure it was really fresh in my mind. I actually watched NXT earlier today, and I was chatting with some folks in the Discord. I said, I'm watching NXT. This has been a big yawn so far. And they were like, yeah, it wasn't really a good episode. I see. Yeah, only the Pete Dunne Dragunov. That was worth checking out. Really? Yeah, it was that good. And as I'm just watching it, I was feeling it. I got to say, I did a lot of fast forwarding for that episode. Not good. Quick results: Dakota Kai defeating Saray. LA Knight defeating Andre Chase. Gigi Dolan defeated Amari Miller. Odyssey Jones defeated Trey Baxter. So Odyssey Jones going much further into the breakout tournament. Boa defeated Drake Maverick. My God, what's going on there with Drake Maverick? You had Leon Ruff. If you couldn't figure out what the fuck to do with Leon Ruff, look, great fucking feud he was having there with Isaiah Swerve Scott for the North American championship there. Or is it the Cruiserweight? You know the title I'm talking about. It was great what was going on there. Go ahead and rekindle that. And then if you want to continue to have Swerve Scott be the guy on top as a champion, that's cool. What do you do with Leon Ruff? Simple. fucking Drake Maverick just lost Killian Dane as his tag partner. So there goes that team that was able to get themselves over naturally on a week-to-week basis. Pair up Leon Ruff with Drake Maverick. Boom. There you go. Both guys have something to do. Now when we see Drake Maverick, I mean, really stop and think about that. When Drake Maverick got that contract released from WWE, you know, he's crying and all of that other shit. All unanimously, everybody was just, oh, no, Drake, no. Oh, what are they doing? Oh, no. Social media just big old outrage. Drake Maverick gets offered a contract. He gets re-signed. You know, he's good for a hot couple of months. And now you look at what's been going on with the young man, and it's just been, you know, now we get to that point where when we see Drake Maverick, he's Dolph Ziggler. Oh, hey, look, Ma, it's Dolph Ziggler. I wonder who he's losing to this week. Drake Maverick has become the new Dolph Ziggler, basically. You know, it's quite sad. He's so much more capable of, you know, put him back on Monday Night Raw. Let him go chase after that 24/7 championship. I'm tired of fucking seeing Flipper. That's our new name for him, by the way, Flipper. I'm tired of seeing Flipper. Every time I turn around, flippity flip. Fucking Flipper. And Pete Dunne defeating Dragunov. Yeah, just rough episode, man. Rough episode. Mickie James, we didn't talk about this when the NWA Power Recap, but NWA's Mickie James did reveal the rules for the first ever Women's Invitational. 10 women have been selected by her and her respective team of advisors. The top 10 women they think would and could make incredible women's champions to compete in the main event of Empower to become not only the first cup holder, but will then go on to face the NWA Women's Champion the very next night for a chance at becoming the NWA Women's Champion. As remember, the title's going to be on the line at Empower. Camille taking on, what's that girl's name? Layla Hirsch. By the way, nice once again, consecutive week in a row, getting our girl Camille on AEW programming. I mean, she just fits perfectly. She fits fucking perfectly. 2 women will start order. I'm reading this from a series of posts she put out on social media. It's a little bit jumbled up, but she basically is saying 2 women will start in order to be determined by herself and her team. And apparently, oh wow, cool. Medusa, Gail Kim, Jazz, Queens of the Round Table. Every 2 minutes, a new woman enters. Eliminations only by pinfall or submission. There will be only one. Goddamn, Mickie James. Let me clean this up. There will be only one winner annually. That is weird how she phrased that. I'm glad I cleaned that up. Yeah. So AEW ratings for this week. I'm going with something simple. I'm going to say they did about another million, right? They did about another million, luckily. So I'm feeling kind of, I'll say 990,000. 990,000 for this week. Monday's Raw drew an average of 1.790 million viewers on the USA Network. Not too shabby. Not too shabby for them. By the way, set your, I would say DVRs, but set your phones for maybe reminders. There's going to be a new Broken Skull Sessions this Sunday. And the guest, Bobby Lashley. That should be a damn good episode. I'm looking forward to that. That's a very decorated career that he has. I mean, when you talk about his first rodeo in WWE to when he made his exit, and I really hope they go all there in regards to the exit. Any misconceptions, myths, like squash all of that shit, you know, once and for all. I hope they go there on this episode when he went to Impact Wrestling and I know it's going to be a really good, well-rounded discussion. So I'm looking forward to seeing Lashley and the Texas Rattlesnake. Should be really good. Look, not for nothing, but Steve Austin's been really coming into his own as an interviewer. I really got to give the props to the man. He really, really has. So check that out. That's going to be on Sunday. And other than that, I'm going to go on ahead and I'm going to say, let's stick a fork in it. This show is DONE done. So on this note, as far as programming notes go, that's it. We are good. We are not going to be back on the air with you guys not until Monday and Tuesday. And let me give you these programming notes right now for you guys. Monday and Tuesday. Monday, August 16th, and Tuesday, August 17th. You guys will get new episodes of the RCWR show. And then afterwards, let me just see how we're going to do this. Yeah. Regular programming. Yeah. Programming for all of that week will actually be okay. I was a little bit concerned because we're doing AWESOMECON that week. So I'm just trying to figure out if, we're good. Everything's good. So it's going to be regular programming as always, but I am due for another vacation from the show soon because we've been going at it nonstop since I returned from my honeymoon. And you notice we've been giving you guys a lot more shows and all that, but I'm due for a vacation pretty soon. I'm thinking probably the week after SummerSlam's over and done with. That's probably when we're going to take a week vacation. As it gets closer, I'll definitely let you guys know more about that upcoming vacation. But sound off. I'm curious to get you guys' thoughts on a number of the topics that we had covered here on the show. And one more time, especially if you're up to this point, if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe. You do that, helps out a ton, puts more eyeballs on the product. Subscribe as well. You know, I see a few people have been subscribing across all the platforms there. Appreciate that as always. Get at your man on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR show. And until next round, unless you have other plans, I'm wishing all y'all not only to be safe and be kind to one another. Enjoy the rest of the week. Hope you have a fantastic weekend. Be well, my friends, and ciao.